Hello and welcome back to Grangegorman Military Cemetery. So this will be my second video here. First video was just me walking around because I was a little shy about being in front of the camera, but not so much anymore. So there's a couple of graves here. I actually just met a woman who worked for the Office of Public Works. So she's doing the upkeep, or she was doing the groundskeeping of the cemetery, and she gave me some. I was looking for one grave, she gave me insights into a couple of others, which was very nice of her. The first person we have here was Martin Doyle. So he won the Victoria Cross, which is Britain's highest military honour, and he won that in World War I as, I think it was a sergeant major. It's on his grave, for actions in 1918. He was born in Wexford, and he went on to, he was in the British Army from, I believe, 1909, maybe a little before that, and fought in World War I. I was reading the citation for his Victoria Cross, but I can't remember now off the top of my head. But this is his grave here. So Martin Doyle, oh, there we go. Martin Doyle, Victoria Cross, Royal Munster Fusiliers, and he died on the 20th of November 1940. But he was actually, after the First World War, he joined the Irish Republican Army and fought against the British in the War of Independence, and he joined the pro treaty side during the Civil War and retired from the army in 1937 eventually, and then passing away in 1940, I believe, at the age of 49. So he was still quite young, but yeah, so he was one of the first, and that he's just inside the gate of Grangegorman Cemetery, and just over in that far corner. Now we'll walk through, because there's a couple of interesting graves here. So these are all people, I think I put it in the first video, but this may as well go again. These are all members of the British military who they were Irish but served in the British military, or at the time were part of Britain in World War I and World War II, and then a few wars before that. So it's one of the larger military cemeteries in Ireland, and so there was people from World War I, World War II, 1916 Easter Rising, and the War of Independence. So she pointed out, I don't have much information on this boy, but this boy was only 14 when he died on the Leinster, which was a battleship that was torpedoed in 1918. And there's something in the region of 150 servicemen buried in Grangegorman that were from that ship. Let me see now, she just pointed it out to me a minute ago. So it's along here somewhere. I'll just spin this around. Where are we? Here we go. Thomas Woodgate. So Thomas Woodgate, he was the Royal Air Force, 10th of October 1918, aged 14 years old. So the lady was telling me that he'd lied on his application and had said that he was 18, and it wasn't until they recovered his body and brought it back that they realised he was actually only 14. So it's likely he was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, service person to die during the First World War. So he died on the Leinster, which was torpedoed in October 1918. So you have quite a few here. So you have Richard Templemore, drowned in the sinking of the Leinster, October 10th, 1918, age 27. 10th of October. Then you have one here, a soldier of the Great War. So this one, I think I showed the last time, didn't have his name, so they don't know who he was. So his body could have recovered from the Leinster. And yeah, there's lots here from the Leinster. But then we have also, as we go through, I don't know won't step on anyone's grave. So we'll go through. And we'll go over to another grave she pointed out. So this was, oh, and here, sorry, this was another one. This is the anchor. So this was, he was the captain of the Leinster when it sank, or at least one of the main ship persons. But she said that his daughter and wife was also on the Leinster when it was torpedoed. That they were returning home from wherever they were, and they happened to be on the ship as well. But this, just a interesting one. So it's anchor. So some sort of captain or high-ranking admiral, I think would be called. Another one which she pointed out was, I don't say, it's G.V. Pinfield. So this man was one of the first soldiers killed during the 1916 Easter Rising. So he would have been stationed either at the town hall or Dublin Castle. I'll have to do another search of that, but he was one of the first killed. So you'll have it here. Second Lieutenant Pinfield, 24th of April 1916, age 21. And beside him you have Algernon Lucas, 2nd King Edward's Horse, 29th of April 1916. And then you have another J.J. Hunter, 5th Lancers, 26th of April 1916. So all of these were people who died during the 1916 Easter Rising. So that Pinfield, 2nd Lieutenant Pinfield, might have been the first soldier at least killed. And then you have more 1918, World War One. But a very interesting one, which is the reason I came, was because of a fella by the name of George Chalmers, or Chambers, and the pronunciation is probably a bit wrong. But he was a soldier who was captured by members of the Clare IRA, and he was brought out to a bog. Well, he was interrogated first, then brought out to a bog and executed and buried in that bog. And his body, that was in 1921, and his body wasn't recovered until 2018, after a historian doing research on a book about the disappearance of the Republican movements from the War of Independence to the Troubles back to 1798. Did some of his own research and eventually came across the grave, which locals had actually known about since it occurred. But he had family members who were doing a genealogy research and realised they had an uncle or a distant relative that was in the British Army, and that he had disappeared while on service in Ireland. And it turned out that he had been captured, interrogated, and then executed by the Clare IRA. And then, after some research by the family and the historian, whose name I cannot remember at the moment, but I found it from the Good Listener podcast, and that is George Chalmers. So he was killed on the 10th of June 1921 in Clare, and he was only, sorry, I didn't turn this down, he was only 18 years old, but his body wasn't recovered until 2018. He was buried here. And next to him is E. Powell, 21st of November 1920. So he actually died on the day of Bloody Sunday. But from the little bit of quick research I did, he wasn't at target. He might have been killed in a different engagement. But yeah, this soldier here was one of the disappeared from the Irish War of Independence. And this is, I'll just do a quick spin around, this is Grangegorman Military Cemetery.